Welcome back to another edition of the Saints Insider Podcast. My name is Luke Johnson, filling in as host today. I'm joined by Rod Walker, Matthew Paris, and Jeff Duncan. We have a fun show for you today, guys. We are going to look at the last preseason game. We're going to look at the newest Saints acquisition, wide receiver Devaughn Vele. Is that right? Devaughn Vele. And we're going to look at other potential roster moves, what we got ahead of us this weekend with the Saints hosting the Broncos in the Caesars Superdome tomorrow. And our last little dress rehearsal before we do the real thing, guys. You excited?
I feel like we're at the finish line finally, or the training camp finish line. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Matt looked non-committal there.
This is the time of year I'm a nervous wreck because all my season preview stuff is about to be due, and I am always constantly behind. So, yay!
Procrastinator.
Yeah, man. Let's just get to the real thing, right?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Speaking of the real thing, the preseason finale is going to be closer to the real thing, apparently.
Yeah.
So I guess Kellen Moore said yesterday that he is going to be playing some of his starters, most of his starters. Matt, you were there. I was at Tyler Matthews' celebration.
Yeah,
yesterday,
it sounds like most of the starters will play. Spencer Rattler will get the start, and he said that all three quarterbacks would play. So we'll see if Jake Haener gets in there. But interestingly, he kind of demurred when he was asked if Shough would also get first team reps. So I don't know if we'll see Shough working with the starters, but this is a big chance, I think, for Spencer Rattler to kind of solidify his spot as the starting QB. I think it's a good sign for him that he's starting, getting the start, but he still has to go out there and perform. If Shough outperforms him like he did the first game, then I think maybe there is some room for Shough to steal this at the last minute.
All right, let's put a pin in that for now. We're going to come back to the quarterbacks and the preseason game. First, I want to get into kind of the big news of the week. The Saints sent 2 draft picks to the Denver Broncos for a player that they really desperately needed on this roster and have needed for, I don't know, like 3 years now. Surprising that they took this route, yes. I think a lot of people took issue with the compensation. They sent a 4th-round pick and a 7th-round pick to the Denver Broncos for wide receiver Devaughn Vele, who fits an obvious need for the team. Like I just said, he's 6'5". He is a possession receiver, and they just have a roster full of 5'11", 190-pound guys. So this fits a need for him. But the price is something you have to consider. He does have 3 years remaining on a rookie deal. It's going to pay him about $1 million a year. Very cheap. So cheap cost control player. Good. He does turn 28, I think, this next month.
No, I think it's December.
December, okay. He turns 28 this year, so he's old for a player on a rookie contract. Not good. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? And Matt, we'll start with you because you wrote an analysis piece on this yesterday, basically looking at this exact topic. We're looking at the price it required the Saints to get a player who was a 7th-round pick a year ago.
Yeah, a lot of national people hated this trade, and they looked at it from, if the Saints are going to be bad next year, then why are they giving up future assets? And also, like Robert Mays at The Athletic, he kind of joked that, the Saints are gearing up to win a Week 18 that would move them from the 2nd pick in the draft to the 6th. I don't know if I see it as that extreme, but I don't really take issue with the cost of the trade. I think it was fine. A 4th-rounder for a guy who was productive his rookie season is fine. We've seen Mickey Loomis do this kind of trade quite frequently. I guess my issue with it is we have been saying for months that receiver potential, particularly lack of size at receiver, was a problem for them. And so then why didn't they address it earlier? Why did you wait till training camp when you have to give up maybe more assets as you get closer to the season? Why not use one of their 9 draft picks on a guy? And to the Saints' defense, they've said that, we wanted to draft a receiver and it just didn't pan out. And if you look at the free agent class, there wasn't really anyone a great fit in terms of that size. Still, I don't know. It's curious timing, I guess, is maybe my issue with it a little bit.
For context, let's say the Saints get the first overall pick in next year's draft.
Yeah.
Let's just say that scenario happens. It's a worst scenario in terms of the draft positioning. Right. The first pick in the fourth round this past year was number 103 pick in the draft. So we're talking about a likely top 115 pick for a player like Vele, who by the end of his rookie deal will be into his 30s. So I mean, definitely something to consider there. And I do think those are all salient points.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I mean, they've had this need on the. I mean, I remember Dennis Allen sitting at the combine 2 years ago, saying we need a possession receiver, and they just never have done it. So, for them to do it basically on the eve of the regular season, even if Devaughn Vele is a good player for them, I mean, that's a steep price to pay.
Well, you can look at it a couple ways. I mean, if you think Devaughn Vele is better or as good as the fourth round receiver you'd take next year, you're going to get 1 year out of production out of him. See what I'm saying? So like you can make that argument.
But the counter argument to that would be the player you're taking next year, if you're getting as good production or a little bit less, he's 22 or 23 years old.
Right. Yeah. So it just depends on how you want to look at it. But you at least get 1 more year out of him, and then you'd have 1 year on the back end of that guy. So I mean, but I think the Saints, at least when I talked to somebody about this before they made the trade, they knew they were going to have to overspend. So, like, it's not like they got fleeced and, don't know it. They knew they were paying a steep price. So, but this is where they're at. And I would argue, they didn't take one in this draft. I think what people are confusing here is that, like, they've got a lot of holes on the roster. There's only so many holes they can fill, and they're trying to fill them all, and fans are wanting them to fill all of them at one time, and it's just impossible to do. Maybe they could have taken one in the third round this year, and then they wouldn't have had, Broughton, who's a huge, piece for them in their mind, and then there'd be a hole there, and they'd have to go get a defensive tackle. So I mean, there's only so many fingers to plug this dike right now, and I think this was the only way they could do it. They did try to get a free agent receiver, and they're having trouble getting receivers to come here for obvious reasons, and they tried to do it through the tight end. I think if they would have gotten
Noah Fant.
Yeah, Noah Fant, I don't think they would have made this deal. I think they were just looking for a third pass catcher, was the way it was termed to me. Whether that was a tight end or a receiver, they wanted another big-bodied pass catcher to go with their 2 speed receivers. So it's just not easy right now with the quarterback situation here and the prospects to go get free agency, so they probably had to go the trade route. And I think that's what led them down this road. And look, this guy's a good prospect. I mean, I've told you all this. When I was out in Denver last year at this time, meeting with Sean Payton, he talked at length, unsolicited, about this kid and compared him a little bit to Marcus Colston. Now, he's not going to be Marcus Colston, but the same kind of player is what he was saying, and a very low draft pick, same round. So I think there's a lot of qualities. You heard Peyton talk yesterday. He said it was one of the hardest trades they've made. They weren't just unloading him. I think the price, the Saints would not have gotten him if they wouldn't have gone to the fourth round probably.
Yeah, I've got a question about that. Do you think that is Sean Payton being nice for his former team? Yeah, he's going to do great for them. Or do you actually think do you believe him when he says it was one of the toughest?
I definitely believe him, because he talked about this last year long before the trade. Matter of fact, I drafted him in my fantasy draft like in the last round because I knew nobody knew about this guy and I had this intel. So I took him then, and he had a good, productive year. Now, they've kind of drafted over him, though. I think they took Pat Bryant this year. Yeah. They're really high on Franklin, who come out of last year's draft. They got Cortland Sutton. They have too many receivers. And we're going to see this tomorrow. This roster that Denver has coming in here, this is a really good roster. And I think this is probably going to be a win-win, I think, for both sides.
Yeah, and to your point that you were making, I think when you looked at this year's draft class receivers, it wasn't a particularly strong class, and I think an overwhelming majority of the players in this class were similar to the players they already had on the roster. It was they were going to have to be in the right spot to get somebody who was going to be like that big-bodied receiver. I thought like Jaden Higgins might be there in like the third round for him. He was gone like the second round.
Yeah.
One of the first guys off the board in the second round. He was one of the few guys who kind of fit that bill.
He'd have been perfect.
So yes, the draft, it was a challenge to address it in the draft. Pat Bryant went in the 3rd round to Denver. He's kind of a similar player to even Michael Thomas. That wasn't an easy proposition. It is, I still think, though, like it is a steep price to pay. Rod, I know you had a point to make, but I wanted to ask you what you thought about Vele as a player and his fit within this offense.
No, we've talked about it, all offseasons. That's what they needed, and I think they got the guy. There was a tweet, I can't remember who tweeted it out, but they showed like every catch he made last year, and he made some really big-time, like contested catches, and that Olave and Rashid probably – they might not make, but he's if you get it to him, he usually pulls it in. And I think that's what this team needed. And as far as the trade, like I try not to evaluate trades too early because we got to see how this guy. It could be like end up being the greatest trade ever, or it could be a total flop. So we'll see how he pans out. But I think it's definitely a good fit for this team and exactly what they needed. And credit to the Saints, they addressed it. I mean, they had to give up something to do it, but they did address a big need.
And I got to say, if you're evaluating young quarterback play, you need to give them every opportunity to be successful, to know whether they are going to be your guy. So as much as I love Olave and Shaheed and what they bring as a play, they are not 6'5" ball winners. So Vele had I think it was a 74.5 completion percentage when being targeted last year. He had 12 catches on 3rd down, 11 of them moved the chains. His longest catch of the season came on 4th down. He's not going to be like the vertical field stretcher. They don't need that. They needed somebody who could go win on 3rd and 6, and not get pushed off the mark, and get shoved out of the way to make the play on the ball. So I like the addition as a player. I question the price it took to get him, but sometimes it just might be that's what the price is.
Yeah, he converted 26 first downs last year
Out of 41 catches.
That would have been 2nd only behind Juwan Johnson on this roster. It's not the same exact circumstances, but I think it shows like exactly why they needed that type of big body, because Juwan Johnson was really their only guy who could do that.
And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they fit him into the rotation. I mean, what do you all think? I mean, this is going to probably edge out a veteran, probably.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, I think Mason Tipton's spot is safe on the team. I think Brandon Cook's spot is obviously safe on the team. And then Sheed and Olave and Vele. So that's 5 receivers.
That sounds like
so
the
that
5,
means,
right?
Like, that's their 5 unless they keep a 6th, and then you're talking Dante Pettis or Cedric Wilson. Or neither.
Right.
And it kind of depends on how they feel about other spots in the roster and where they want to keep guys. So that might push somebody out. And I think that's okay because I think they needed it.
Who's it already pushed Donovan Peoples-Jones out. So.
Oh, well, yeah. He's
out.
I think he's been out kind of.
Yeah.
Who
do you all think is the returner on this team? Is it Shaheed now, pretty much?
I think they're gonna pick and choose their spots with him.
I think it's going to be Pettis. I think they're going to keep Pettis.
Because of that. That's the one thing I would say is he does have that ability, but if they don't, that's going to be the one trump card I think he holds, maybe a roster spot. If not, I think this acquisition might cost him a roster spot.
Right, and they could always have Sheed back there and just say, look, unless it's a perfect opportunity, fair catch it.
Right.
We'll live with that, until we find somebody who can handle that regularly. And he hasn't even been back there on kick returns.
Right.
That's Kendra Miller.
Okay. Just taking this trade into account, we have seen, I think it was Diana Rossini the other day reported that the Saints were one of 3 teams who have been kind of shopping around the running back market. One potential candidate was wiped off the board earlier this morning, Matt. Your guy, Brian Robinson, the former Washington Commander, apparently they have an agreement to send him to the San Francisco 49ers. So that's one guy who's off the market. But would you be surprised? Rod, we'll start with you. Would you be surprised to see the Saints pull the trigger on another deal before they open the regular season against the Arizona Cardinals? And if you...
We're talking about running back or just period?
Anything.
Okay. I'd be a little surprised at running back. I think that's kind of a strong suit of this team right now. So, but if there's somebody out there that thinks better than your 3rd guy, maybe you do it. But I just don't really see the need to do it. To me, offensive line is still a question mark, but there aren't a whole lot of linemen out there, so I don't know if there's anybody you go get. But outside of that, I don't know if they make a move or not. But this is a team that's like most teams. You're always trying to find, if you can find a guy out there that's better than somebody you got that adds some depth, then yeah, you definitely go for it. But I don't know if they make any moves that are like earth shattering.
Right. They've made 2 trades already this offseason. We know Mickey loves making trades. I don't know though if it's me, I don't know if I want to give up any more of my draft assets for next year. Like they're probably getting a comp back for Paulson and Debo.
Well, it depends how much
Depends on-
Yadam plays.
Right.
The Yadam could potentially like
Play them out of the pit.
out of it if he plays more than I think 30% of the snaps. And right now he's like projected to be a starter. So
Yeah, you're looking at probably minimum like 70% of the snaps for him as of right now.
yeah, and so it's not. I don't know. It's a toss up.
All right. Well, do you think this is like a team that could or should address its roster through this avenue, through trades? I don't even know if they have any tradable assets in terms of players on their team right now where you could do a similar sort of thing like they did with Luke Fortner and make a player-for-player trade.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm with Rod. The one spot I would actually really like to see them address is swing tackle, but then who's it gonna be? I don't know. Like I was kind of looking at lists of popular trade candidates around the league or whatever. Someone mentioned Evan Neal, but it's like, do you want to take
he's
a
pretty
flyer,
bad.
a flyer project? Like, do you want to trade draft picks for a guy a guy who's really struggled before? Probably not.
Who's still probably pretty costly, right?
Yeah.
He was a top 10 pick, so
Could be, yeah. I don't know there. Running back, I actually really did like Brian Robinson as a fit for them. I think he would have filled that short yardage pass protector role that I just don't know if they have on this roster. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be the pass protector, but I just don't know who's going to be that short yardage, go get us a yard. Maybe it's Kendre Miller.
That's the only guy I can think of.
Yeah,
I was thinking that Brian Robinson was perfect because they really don't have a thumper unless you think that's Kendre Miller. They don't have a big back, so maybe that's what they're looking for.
It's a role that Taysom Hill's played for the last several years,
Right.
and we're expecting him to miss some time to start the regular season.
But it's interesting because Kellen, last week, or I can't remember when it was recently, though, he was raving over the running back, remember? He said, every one of these players could make the 53.
Yeah.
Now, it could be coach speak a little bit, but we've talked to people that also have said that. So it's interesting that they would be in the market for a running back when they seem to like their running backs.
It is really fun. I don't really understand it because they were interested in Nick Chubb. We've heard him have interest in running backs throughout the season, but then I don't know, they look pretty deep there.
Yeah.
They're going to have difficult choices to make. And maybe they're only deep to a degree. Maybe we're just seeing these guys all bunched together and they all look the same and we're like, oh, well, they're all pretty decent. Maybe they're all just not very good.
Well, I would say after watching Jacksonville, I was like, wow, the running backs are better than the Saints, all the way 4 or 5 deep. So
Yeah.
maybe that's true.
We saw last year with the Eagles, and Kellen Moore mentioned this trade the other day and comparing it to Vele, but when the Eagles acquired Jahan Dotson around this time this year from the Commanders, it made me wonder, okay, is Kellen open to, in-division trades? And if so, then I would be trying to get Sean Tucker. Oh, my God.
That way you don't have to face him 2 times this year.
Right. But no, that's a type, or Rashad White, who maybe, is he the odd man out there if they
Right.
want to play Tucker more? But I don't know. White isn't the type of running back I don't think they need.
I also think that, look, this is the time of year. There's going to be good running backs available after cut.
Yeah, Nick Chubb might hit the market, or, he's no lock to make Houston's roster.
So I just think that, that stuff happens. Running back is one of those positions where there's guys switching teams at this time of year all the time because there's a glut of them on rosters around the NFL. There's teams that, who was it? I think I can't remember. There's somebody who I was looking at the other day has 3 really good. The Jets. The Jets have 3 really good running backs on their team. There's teams that have this crazy depth at this position, and you can find guys in the waiver wire around cutdown day. So
I thought it was interesting.
And Brian Robinson might have been one of those guys.
I think I was feeling the same way. I thought it was interesting. I heard somebody the other day say that, in relation to the Vele trade, that a lot of teams, and I was told also that, the Saints were competing for him. That also might explain why they went up. The Vikings, I think, are in the market for a receiver.
Yeah, they're going to trade for Adam Thielen, maybe.
Yeah, and the Niners, I think, traded for Sky Moore. But I heard someone say, like a league observer, that a lot of teams around the league were like the Saints looking for receiving help. And it always feels to me like there's tons of receivers out there, right? I mean, you always hear that in the draft every year. They say, oh, you can get good receivers in the 3rd or 4th round. But is that the case? Because it sounds like a lot of teams were in the same boat as the Saints.
I think it was just kind of a weak receiver draft this year. I think it's kind of showing up right now. And teams are realizing they kind of have some holes. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out with the Saints and any potential trades. We've obviously got cut down day on Tuesday next week. I think it's going to be an interesting cut down day, just because of the way Kellen Moore was kind of setting it up, where they're going to kind of pull as many levers as they can to get the 53 that they want. Remember that if they release I think it's a vested veteran, that player doesn't have to go through the waiver process. There's oftentimes like a handshake agreement, like, hey, we're going to cut you from the 53, but we're going to sign you back to the practice squad with the intention of bringing you back up. So we might see some of that sort of stuff. We'll get into all that in a little bit, but first we are going to take a quick break.
Banking has come to a crossroads. Do you want to bank with an actual bank, with actual people? You know, one that you can walk into or drive through, get real help from a real person. Or do you want a bank that lives inside your phone? A digital bank that gives you control of your money anywhere, anytime. Well, why not both? Bank Plus, a partner in your corner, wherever that may be.
Did they ask you to do the commercial too?
Yeah, but they just gave me one line.
Bet like a Caesar. Like, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna tell them how Caesar's Sportsbook is just so easy to use that you can watch and bet thousands of sports events, even some NFL games.
They'll probably show us betting on our favourite players and teams at all the Vegas hotspots too.
Like, we have time for that montage.
I told him I couldn't do it.
They couldn't afford me.
Welcome back to the Saints Insider Podcast. I'd like to remind you that Saints Insider is sponsored by Bank Plus. From small business to big business, home loans to bank anywhere technology, Bank Plus is here for New Orleans. New deposit customers can reach out today to learn about incredible rate specials. Learn more at bankplus.net, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All right, guys. Week 3 of the preseason is upon us. We will be out there at the Superdome tomorrow. We are recording this on Friday, August 22nd. Wrapping it up there in the Superdome. Old friends coming back in town. There's so many. It's hard to name them all on the Broncos staff. You got Sean Payton, Darren Rizzi, Zach Streif, number of others. I know a couple were approached away this offseason. Pete Carmichael.
How can we forget Pete Carmichael?
Joe Lombardi.
Joe Lombardi.
Cody Rager.
Then you got on the player side, you got Will Lutz, you
It's
got
7
Adam
players, by the
Troutman. Is Malcolm Roach still there? I'm assuming he's still
back
there.
up.
Adam Prentice.
Adam Prentice.
It's 7 players. I want to see
They're
if y'all
the
can get
Denver Saints.
7 players. Okay.
Oh, you got them all?
Yeah,
Oh.
I wrote them down.
All right, so I got Lutz, Troutman, Roach, Prentice,
I know one.
I didn't see Troutman on there.
I know one.
Throckmorton.
He's still
Throckmorton.
there.
That's a good one.
A.T. Perry.
I think y'all got them all. Oh, it's one y'all didn't get, and you won't get this one though.
All right, who's the 7th one?
Oh, the tight end.
No, who's the
Yeah,
7th
Lucas
one?
Kroll.
Did y'all not say him already?
No.
We haven't
Okay.
said him, yeah.
Did y'all say Michael Burton?
No. Is he
Yeah.
still there?
He's still there. He's
He's
hurt right now. That's why they signed Prentice.
One Saints fullback goes out, another one comes in. Okay, so look, a lot to get through in this game, but the first one, the most obvious one. So last time we have to do this in the preseason, quarterback watch. Slide goes back to Spencer Rattler's side this week. He is starting this game. It's his second start out of 3 preseason games. Matt, you kind of started this conversation, so I'm going to let you kind of take it back where you wanted to go. Look, it does kind of feel like it's leaning in Spencer's direction right now, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is just part of their regular rotation. I have no idea. Where do you want to take this?
Yeah, I'm so tempted to overanalyze everything, but if you look at practice, like there have been days where Tyler Shough has received more first-team reps than Spencer Rattler. But if you just look at who starts the day with the ones, Tyler Shough hasn't taken first-team reps to start the day in practice since August 7th. And they've had maybe 5 practices since then. Now, obviously, he started the Jacksonville game he's had days where he's had more. But this week, where they're attempting to simulate the regular season, and the one full practice we were able to watch, his workload was drastically reduced. It was Rattler. I think Rattler has had maybe the more consistent camp. He started off strong. There was a dip in a little bit, but he's been the more steady one. You can just tell he's had that year of experience. And so I think they're giving him an opportunity to try and lock it down. Now, whether he does, that's where I think it is actually still open. I think Tyler Shough can go out there, have a great day, and if Rattler struggles, then maybe they make a last-minute switch. But right now, this is like Rattler's test to see if he can lock it down.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think Rattler's 2-minute drive was the first time we've seen someone really under pressure in a big moment deliver. And I think that was big. I mean, you saw the sideline react. I think that's what the coaching staff's been looking for, too. Like, somebody sees this thing. And that was as close as we've come to it, but I still think it's close enough. They've got to go through the whole evaluation process. And I think Rattler, I think it's Rattler's job to lose is the way I look at it. If he doesn't start the season, it's going to be because he did something to lose it. I think he's in front.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to try to tee you up, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I think he'd have to just really stink it up to lose a job at this point. I just think he's kind of done enough to do it, and I think he'll finish it off tomorrow. And I don't know what day we'll find out.
What do you think happens if he's starting tomorrow and Denver's playing their starters and he does nothing? Like, do you think he still can hang on to it as long as?
Yeah, I think that's open for the conversation, right?
Because that could happen.
It could,
look what happened last year when they played Denver.
Right.
You know, they got absolutely curb stomped in
but
that
if
game.
Shough doesn't do anything else, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how.
Right. Your scenario is what happens if they both do nothing. They're not terrible, but they just go 6 of 10.
Right.
Couple check downs, get off the field. Like, they don't really have that many productive drives. I don't know. That's where I think it goes back to, what are you better off seeing for the entire year? And if it's close, if it seems to be super close, then do you go back to Shough?
So that's kind of going to lead into what I wanted to ask you guys about. I've been thinking about this a lot over the last couple of days. I've been hearing kind of like some national previews on the Saints, and a lot of them are like, well, if Tyler Shough can't win the job out of training camp, he's clearly not the guy, which I just I take issue with, and. I do think that there's going to be pressure on one of these quarterbacks to show that they can be the guy this year, because if they bottom out, which is definitely possible for this team, they're going to be in the quarterback sweepstakes again next year. So somebody has to show something. But I don't think by any stretch, if Spencer Rattler wins this job out of training camp, you could just write Tyler Shough off. He couldn't even beat a 5th rounder from the 2024 class. So I mean, you see this all the time around the NFL, and you have for decades. And we know that a lot of these coaches are just so institutionalized in the way the NFL goes, where you get a rookie quarterback and you sit him for a little bit. You see it last year with Drake May sitting behind Jacoby Brissett for a number of games. Completely different scenario, obviously, but I don't know. Just tell me I'm not stupid here. If Shough doesn't win the job, there's still a very good chance that Shough is going to play a significant part of this season, right?
Yeah, just look at the schedule, the first 4 games. I mean, that is the Cardinals and
49ers,
Seahawks,
Bills.
And so, if I would say of those 4, the first 2 are more quote unquote winnable games, but if Rattler struggles in those 2 games, there's going to be calls for Shough. He's going to play at some point. I would be shocked if Rattler won the job and then was so consistent that he started all 17 games. Shough is just going to play at some point.
Yeah, man, I think to your point about Drake May, I mean, no one was saying that about Drake May. I mean, that was the plan to do it. I think that's been some of the plan here in New Orleans is, let's see if Shough's ready, and if he's not, hopefully we get him ready at some point. I'm still of the belief that he's the guy. He's the long-term plan. Now, just because he doesn't start game 1 doesn't alter that. I mean, I had someone tell me before camp even started, they feel like at some point he will take over and be the starter. So they've thought of this exact scenario. So I don't think this is an ultimatum on him at all, and a referendum on his ability. I think it's a good example of a guy you can see the traits, but he's just a little hesitant. His head's swimming a little bit. The one thing I'm a little concerned with him on is just, the decisiveness that you could see from time to time. It seems like lately it's not been quite as much as evident as I saw earlier in the camp. It seems like he stepped back a little bit, but
For Rattler?
no, we're actually Shough.
Oh, okay.
But again, we're splitting hairs here.
Yeah, well, there's peaks and valleys to everything, right? It's
Right.
not like development never goes on like this
not linear,
path. So I don't know. What's your take on
No,
this?
I mean, I think we're definitely going to see both of them at some point this season, and I agree with you about the people saying that he didn't win a job, so he's not the guy. But I don't think that's true at all. But I think at some point in the season we're going to see him, and hopefully he does what he's supposed to do as a 40th
Do you think
overall
we'll?
pick.
I'm sorry to
No, go ahead.
interrupt. Do you think we'll see Rattler if Shough starts like week one? At some point?
That's a
No,
more
that's-
interesting question,
yeah.
I think. And I do if it got bad.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
think, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier on the pod this week. Like, I think Kellen Moore's done so much to build up like the goodwill in the locker room. Where like I do think that you can't reasonably go to all these veterans if your rookie quarterback who you've chosen in what was a very tight battle stinks it up. Like I don't think you could not bench him and put Rattler in there and just see what he has. But I do think they have to see what Shough has this year.
Yeah.
And if they choose not to see what Shough has, then I think that's a clear indication that he wasn't what they thought he was.
Yeah. And then you're back
And
in
then
the market.
you're right back at square one. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be fascinating to watch this unfold.
riding the
I think,
bus bus.
I think some of the criticisms of Shough have just been like way too early, in my opinion. He's a rookie quarterback. You got to expect him to have the rookie quarterback bumps and bruises like Spencer Rattler had last year. Like a lot of guys have, like Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick last year, was awful in parts of last year. He's looking a lot better. You just got to give it some time.
Hey, a question? What if the Chargers game was the second game, and like what we saw Spencer do? Suppose Spencer did that in the first preseason
Right.
game.
If
and
you
Shough
just
did-
switch the
just
timing
switch the
of it.
time of the game. Do you think we're having a different conversation now, and Shough's the guy, or
Well, that's probably why Kellen Moore's said what he said the other day.
it's like we just kind of forgotten about that game?
We're prisoners of the moment kind of
Yeah.
thing, and they're looking at the bigger
Yeah.
thing.
I think they're taking a holistic view of this thing.
right.
But I mean, I'm not out here saying I think Tyler Shoug's going to be starting quarterback for the Saints for the next 10 years. I think there's a lot that has to happen. But I do think that maybe we're a little bit early, not us, but like generally, people are a little bit early to kind of bury him here. If he doesn't win the job.
I think there's a chance he can still start week one. I'm not ruling that out.
For sure. I agree.
Yeah, if Derek Carr didn't retire, maybe nobody would be saying all that.
All right.
All right.
It's another,
on, Jeff.
another podcast.
All right, let's shift gears here. We've spent enough time talking about the quarterback. Probably I've spent more time talking about the quarterback in the last 30 days than I ever want to again in my life. Let's change gears. When the Saints have the ball, non-quarterback edition, what are you guys really hoping to see out of this team? And Rod, I want to start with you. Like, what's objective number one if you're watching the Saints offense against the Denver Broncos? Even for 8 plays, they're starting defense.
For me, I mean, I think you have to say the offensive line just because they've been underwhelming so far in the preseason. I'm not sure if Eric McCoy plays or not, but you sort of want to see him out there because I think the line is a lot better when he's playing. Fuaga's dealing with some injury that he didn't practice yesterday, and so I don't think he'll. I mean, you think he'll play? I mean, we don't know.
If he's held
but-
out of a Thursday walkthrough practice before a Saturday game, I'm probably not.
Right. So, I mean, I think the line's probably going to still have his issues, but I would like to see if Eric McCoy plays, and if he does play, like how much better that makes him, regardless of who's beside him. So, for me, that'd be the main thing for sure.
I'm glad you brought up the line because Kelvin Banks is – I mean, I think he, especially as a pass blocker, has really met all the expectations of a number 9 pick. It'd be fun seeing him out there with some of the component parts of this offensive line that they're going to have in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, he's done everything you could expect. He didn't have any penalties. I mean, he's just he's been solid, and that's you can say they hit on the draft pick. I mean, so far, we don't know. We'll know when the real game starts, but so far he's lived up to it.
It's a good game to evaluate him.
Yeah.
I think the Broncos, they didn't lead the league in sacks. They were up there.
I mean, Fuaga's worst game as last year was easily against the Broncos. Zach Allen crushed him.
Zach Allen and Nick Benito both kind of had big games against them last year.
Yeah, they got a great front, and if they do play those guys, it'll be really interesting, as to Brod's point about watching this line that's struggled. Maybe if they get everybody out there, we can kind of see what we got. But this is a good litmus test this week.
Can I take yours, or should I leave it alone? I know.
No, go. I've got backups.
Okay. Devon Neal.
That was what I was going to go for.
Yeah, I know you do well. He's a guy that this game really matters for him in terms of, I think, locking up his place on the roster. He's a 6th-round pick. He's missed the first 2 preseason games. He's returned to practice this week. Got like a steady dose of team reps in the practice we were able to watch, which I thought was a good sign for him. He just needs to make up for lost time, and if he doesn't play much, I don't think it disqualifies him, because we saw with Mason Tipton last year, who missed most of the preseason with an injury and still made the 53-man roster. It's just running back is really close for those last few spots, and I'm really interested in watching him.
I want to see if they run that little Wildcat thing they were showing the other day in practice with Alvin Kamara.
We're allowed to talk about
I
it.
think it's already out. People talked about it.
Okay.
I think it was even on social media.
Got deleted because they forced him to take it down.
Oh, well. Can we take that?
Edit.
Yeah, we have to.
That's one thing. Maybe they're just throwing it out there. I want to see Kellen Moore getting his bag of tricks a little bit. And to your point, I think the running back, depth chart needs to be sorted out. So I think those guys are going to get a long look.
So, all right, we're assuming that Devaughn Vele is not going to play, right? Probably.
It didn't seem yesterday. That's the question with him is, what's his knee injury like? I mean, is it preventing him from? I mean, they said they weren't concerned with that, but he's only played in 1 preseason game.
Maybe they trot him out there for like warm-ups, let him go through pat and go, and
I mean, he also doesn't know the playbook.
exactly, get him off the field. I still am like interested in just kind of seeing how the even though I feel like receiver is pretty set, I do think there's maybe potential for one more of those guys to sneak onto the 53. We've seen, I think, some nice things out of Dante Pettis as a pass catcher in both the preseason and training camp, but like also some not so great things from him. It's just been kind of hit or miss. He obviously had the touchdown catch last week that helped tie that game late. See if he can add a little bit more of that in this, show some juice as a returner. Maybe he clinches a spot on the roster that way. I think it's the only thing working against him is like Cedric Wilson is the only other guy on the team that has some size. And I think even if he doesn't give you much as a pass catcher, like he hasn't, frankly, since he's been here in New Orleans, he does add some value as somebody you can put on the field to in obvious running situations, give you some value as a blocker. I'll be watching those two guys. And we're talking about like last spots in the roster. Like, what are they going to do with their number 3 tight end?
Right.
I don't think any of us think Foster or Moreau or Taysom Hill is going to be back for the start of the regular season, probably into the regular season. So I think it's pretty clearly Juwan Johnson and Jack Stoll. I feel very good about, obviously, Juwan, but I think Jack Stoll's locked up a spot. Who's number 3? Is it Trayton Welch? Is it Maliki Matavao? I don't think Michael Jacobson has shown much in this. After having a really nice camp last year, I don't think he's shown much in this one. I don't know. I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch. Welch obviously had the big catch last week on the over route from Tyler Shough. But he's been somebody who's kind of come on late, and a lot of it has been as a pass catcher. I think Matavao might bring a little bit more as a blocker, just he's a bigger body guy. But I'm also might just be kind of talking on my butt here because, like, I don't grind a bunch of tight end blocking film.
I think that's a position they will be looking at on cut day.
I think you're
bolster.
Potentially right.
Yeah, I think that's one they could use maybe a veteran presence. But I'm with you on that. I'm also kind of intrigued. This is going to sound crazy. I'm kind of intrigued by the linebacker depth. I thought Jalen Ford.
We're talking about offense right
We've
now.
got a
okay.
defense.
We're going to go to defense.
We're still going,
But
two-hour podcast.
Before we go to the defense, look, they're planning on playing some starters. We've got a video of one starter here. Our guy Norman Bell shot the other day. This is Chase Young trying to impersonate the Saints Insider podcast crew, flexing and showing off for the camera, just like I love to do. And I know Matt has, like, I was out there in California with Matt. He was practicing his poses in front of the mirror.
Right, yeah.
So
That's what Rod taught me last year when we were there.
yeah. All right. So we got Chase Young probably going to make his preseason debut. We're assuming if they're going to play the starters, he's one of them that we've seen just make a ton of plays in training camp. Looks like a guy who's ready to truly have a good year. Rod, I know you love that.
We're going to say that
You're
for
late.
next week.
Bold predictions.
But when they're on the defensive side of the ball, look, I don't think they've looked very good defensively in preseason. But like, they haven't played any of their guys. I was like explaining this to my father-in-law when my AC crapped out in New Orleans in August for 5 days. That was fun, staying with the in-laws. He's really concerned about the defense, and I was like, well, they're not going to be playing without 10 of their starters most days. And I think their starters have looked pretty good in this preseason. So when you're watching this side of the ball with the starters on the field potentially for the first time, Rod, like, are you zeroing in on your guy Chase and chasing that 15.5 sack total that you brought up last year, or are you looking elsewhere?
I think I'm just going to be looking more collectively at them because, they've looked good in practice, but now we kind of got more questions about the Saints' offensive line. So I want to see like how they look against a good team, and we just haven't seen them. I think only 4 starters probably have played in the 2 games. Yadam, Brazil,
We saw a little bit of Kool-Aid McKinstry.
and
Shepard maybe.
Shepard, played the first game.
Blackman's played.
Oh, and Blackman.
Blackman played the first game, yeah.
Blackman, yeah. So I just want to kind of just see this unit play against somebody else. I mean, we've kind of seen them, and I know y'all got a chance to see them in the joint practice against the Rams, but I wasn't there for that. So I just want to see how they do collectively against and I want to see if they can stop the run. I mean, that's been a big issue. So let's see if they can what they can do.
Yeah, please show me some Devaughn Vele in there, just wrecking shop like he has in training camp practices. Matt?
Yeah, that would be mine. It's just the run. And, like, the preseason, you're not going to deploy these complicated, like, passing routes to scheme the one guy open. Like, they're going to keep it pretty basic. The run schemes are probably going to be pretty basic, but basic is okay when you're just trying to see if your team can handle, like, a brute force strength at the line of scrimmage. And the Broncos have a very good offensive line, and so I think it's a nice test for them. And the Broncos running backs, like, that's a crowded competition for them as well. So I think they will run the ball, and it'll be a good test.
Yeah, R.J. Harvey. You got a fantasy team, I'd look at him. He's like 5'8",
J.K. Dobbins, Austin Estime.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
Podrick.
I just want to see them play. I mean, we weren't in L.A., so we didn't get to see them go against the Rams. It's hard to make any kind of evaluation.
It was still hard to make an evaluation seeing him go up against Jimmy G and Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett threw maybe the ugliest pass I've ever seen an NFL quarterback.
And didn't he
make in my
come
life.
back, though, and have like a huge preseason game or something like that?
Yeah, I think he leads the league in
I don't want to
passing
sit here and
yards.
just like dump on Stetson Bennett. I mean, the guy was like a national championship quarterback in college. Even though the whole time he was in college, I'm like, a dude named Stetson's a national championship quarterback. He did not look like a pro that day out against the Saints, though.
Right.
He tried to throw like a 50-yard bomb and went about 33 yards, and Jordan Hudden, who was not even close to the play, picked it off.
Yeah, I want to definitely watch. Look, that play that gets overlooked at the end of the game the other day was by Rejon Wright. I mean, he's the one that made the play.
Yep.
I mean, I know, Sanker got the pick and was in the right place at the right time, but it doesn't happen if he didn't.
Right.
I want to see more of that kind of work, more PBUs. I mean, something we haven't seen a ton of in camp, and I think that's an area of concern in the back of my mind is their third corner, I think, is still very much up in the air.
I'm really excited to see these safeties work together in a game setting. I think they've been, to me, even though I think Chase Young's looked really good, some of these players do look like a fit for Brandon Staley's scheme. I think the safeties are really, really, really important in this scheme. And both Justin Reed and Julian Blackman, as I said earlier on the show this week, Jonas Sanker, I think all of those guys can play. And I'm really excited to see them together in a game setting and to see what that looks like, and to see if Staley decides to kind of move them around a little bit and let them try to make a pressure or let them kind of coordinate the defense from the back end, because those guys have been really, really, really impressive. And I think the improvements on the line with Godshaw and some others, the benefits of the scheme to some of their edge rushers combined with that safety play, I think has potential to be pretty fun defensively.
You know what else has been impressive is Chase Young's six-pack that he shows off.
We already showed it on the video, my guy.
I mean, look, this guy.
It looks just like mine.
I mean, for a guy as big as he is to have that kind of core, impressive. You think? I guess you can't do that in a game, right? The police will.
Yeah.
Uniform police get after
a fine or whatever.
He would do it if he could.
As friend of the show, Ross Jackson knows, I do have a vendetta against players who roll their jerseys up in practice.
Yeah, we can't see them.
I can't see them and cross them off my list.
If Chase Young rolls his jersey up,
at least he has very
that's the thing.
Distinguishable hair.
There's Chase Young and there was Colin Saunders who were always rolling their jerseys up. I'm like, you know what, guys, go for it. I know exactly who you are every time. The bowling ball and the Greek god over there. Got it. All right, cool. Don't have to worry about those guys. Kevin Austin, on the other hand, my guy, please, for my sake, roll your jersey down a little bit, just so I can see the 8 and the 1 and cross you off, and you can roll it back up. All right. Any other pet peeves? Anybody want to get out there?
For defense, this is more of the backups, but I think the hardest call on.
No, we're gonna take Jeff's. You're gonna steal Jeff's thunder on this. He tried to go earlier.
No, go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go.
The hardest call on the roster to me is whether to keep Jonah Williams or Jonathan Bullard.
Okay, you're not stealing his thunder. Okay, go further on that.
Oh, okay. I don't want to cut into just
no, go further. No, I need to give Jeff the opportunity to talk about linebackers before.
Okay, yeah,
which he wanted to do before he started complaining about how long this podcast is.
We're going. It's a record.
I just think 7 interior defensive linemen you're not going to keep, and I think both of those guys have familiarity with Staley, but I just don't think both are going to make it if you need a backup nose tackle, which is Christian Boyd. So. It's a tough call. I really don't know which way I would lean.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because I think, usually it's a good lesson for all of us, right? When they sign a guy that late, very rarely is you get a Julian Blackmon, right? Usually it's a guy like Bullard who comes in and he's kind of just a guy at this point. You know what I mean? Like he's a role player, so it's easy to get excited sometimes. I like Jalen Ford, man. I think Jalen Ford's kind of my guy. It's been kind of my guy to watch. He needs to wrap up. I mean, he made a big 4th down stop. He would have stoned that guy if he would have just wrapped him up. But he was there, So there's some potential there, and I think they need a young linebacker to step up on this team, other than Stutzman.
Jalen Ford's a really interesting player because he was so productive at Texas, and then he was also like a core special teamer while he was like playing every snap defensively. And he comes in last year, he's a little hurt. He kind of looks a little slow. But, the last couple of weeks, I mean, we've seen him. He hasn't been starting. Granted,
correct.
They've held their starters out, so it's been Danny Stutzman and DeMarco Jackson starting those last 2 games. But I think he's been on the field. I mean, he made the big interception. And that was a great play. That's like one of the hallmarks of this Staley scheme. And the guys are playing zone coverage, and they're able to read the quarterback's eyes. He dropped right into where the quarterback's eyes were going.
That was a big-time play.
He made an athletic interception. He also had a couple of pressures on the quarterback on blitzes. I think he's shown some stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't know how many linebackers are going to keep, and I don't know if he's behind DeMarco Jackson in the pecking order right now. And I think another thing you have to consider is Isaiah Stallbird's been really good on special teams. He's got 4 special teams tackles. Nephi Sewell's been a core special teamer for the last couple of years. So it's going to be a really interesting cut down.
I love Stallbird, man. I think that guy's lights out on teams. I think he's definitely going to make the roster.
How many Utah Utes do they have on this roster?
A bunch.
There's a lot of
Vele is from Utah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Vele, they've got Stallbird, they got
Blackmon, Terrell Burgess.
Stallbird's not Utah?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean,
no, he's like South Dakota State.
Oh, why did I think he was?
All those states out there kind of merged together.
Nephi's from Utah.
Yeah,
he's Nephi's from Utah, and
there we go.
Terrell Burgess.
All right. Well,
And Taysom Hill went to
Still,
BYU on the corner by
I
himself.
love Stallbird. I mean, that guy can play, man. I think that's a guy that I would definitely have on my 53.
All right, well, I'm going to go study the colleges of the Saints 90-man roster and rectify myself. That has been our podcast for the day, guys.
We got to mention Will Lutz and Blake Groupie and Galliano and Rizzi, man. Special teams.
No, we're not gonna do it.
We're not going to talk about Jaden Price.
That was
at
the
all?
mention right there. That was it.
That was it.
Yeah, right.
We're not gonna talk
Darren Rizzi's back in the house. Favorite of the media corps here in New Orleans.
What about the great Rod column on Jaden Price, the white pepper? I mean, we're not going to watch.
I mean, people should go read that one.
That was a great read, and I'm definitely be watching him.
Yeah, he
on
might
Saturday.
be filling in as punt returner. Maybe get a chance to make a big play and make the team and
Had a
come
nice
up with
return.
more fun nicknames. What was the one receivers are calling him in practice?
The Saints
in
caught.
games?
Oh, he said he'll hear like milk check whenever he comes to the line of scrimmage, whatever that means. So I don't know. But
Oh my God, I love the
love
stuff you get out of the locker room sometimes, man. It's great. Okay, that has been our show. We've gone on for a long time. The Saints are playing tomorrow in the Caesars Superdome against the Denver Broncos. It's a noon kick tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
So watch
Jeff
out
will
for
show
it
up
there.
again
We
at-
will be out there after the game doing our post-game show, post-game reaction with Zach Ewing, who is deciding to show up for work for once. I'm not going to host a show for you every day, Zach. We're going to have fun. Look for all of our coverage over at NOLA.com. If you like our show, like it on YouTube, subscribe, tell your friends, do all that fun stuff. And look, we will see you out there tomorrow. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Milk check.